All right. What's up, guys? My name is Jesus. This is Preston. This is a podcast show that we're working on called the P&J J&P Show. We'll discuss it later. Football, I love the Vikings. Soccer, United. MLB, like the White Sox. NHL, like the Panthers. I'm not a bandwagon. Preston, what are you a fan of?
Hi guys, I'm Preston. I am KMA Sports on YouTube. Thought I'd throw in a shameless plug real quick. But I also, like you mentioned, I try to follow a lot of sports, at least kind of like dip my toe in everything, I'd say. Obviously, there's some I follow more closely than others. So in terms of like teams, I'm actually definitely a fan of. It's the Pacers in the NBA. I'm a big Pittsburgh sports guy, so the Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. And then college is I currently attend Ball State, so I have to root for every Ball State team. But I grew up a Notre Dame fan, so really Notre Dame's the main team I root for, and that's in all college sports. I try to follow even their smaller programs. Like shout out Notre Dame fencing just won a natty.
Speaking of basketball, Preston, if you'd like to take the lead in our next segment.
All right, yeah. So we are getting towards the end of this year's March Madness tournament. It's been an interesting one to say the least. This is the first Final Four we've seen with all four number one seeds making it since 2008. And while I can't say I'm a fan of that, I prefer Cinderella stories and I love upsets. I will say the Final Four games we just saw recently lived up to the hype. You had Florida holding off Auburn 79-33 in a tight contest. That was a very good game, back and forth the whole time. The SEC truly was deserving of the hype they had this year, and those two teams proved it. And then the more notable game to me, I think the better one tonight was Houston beating Duke 70-67. This was a very good game. Duke looked comfortable for a lot of it, but Houston just kept fighting. They're a very gritty team, very well coached, and they went on an 11-1 run to end the game to win by 3. This is huge for Houston because I'm not sure who all knows this, but they've made 7 Final Fours, which includes sometimes moving on to the Natty, and they've never won the Natty. It's like you're talking about they had like Akeem Olajuwon on their team back in the day, and they couldn't win the Natty. It's a cursed program, and so it's very nice to see them finally get there. Happy for that city and for that coach, and that is definitely who I am rooting for in the national championship. Do you have a preference at all between Florida and Houston or not?
Houston. Since the beginning, I like Houston. They're a 1 seed, but I like the colors. I know they haven't won anything, so I was like the root for a team that hasn't won.
They're very well coached. Their defense first is for sure. Like their games have been lower scoring, but they've just been really gritty this whole time, and it's nice.
Defense wins. Moving on from college basketball to our next segment, we got the NFL. The notable rule change now is that regular season overtime is now 10 minutes compared to what it was 15?
Something like that. I know they shortened it.
They shortened it, and both teams get a possession of the ball. I don't even think it's possible for a team to hold it for the whole time either. I mean, they might drain a lot of it, but both teams will get a chance. I like to call that as the Josh Allen rule / the Bills rule.
I think it's better than what they had. It made sense for the playoffs, and to me, it's like it'd be dumb to have an overtime just for your playoffs. Like it should be applied to your regular season.
When they changed it in 2023, I thought it was for both, but I guess it was just for the postseason. The Hawkeye, the NFL is moving on from the chain gang, at least as the default option, I believe. So now they will have, I believe it was 100, at least 50, but I think it was 100 cameras that are going to be watching the field to try to spot the ball as soon as the play is deemed dead. And they're doing this so they can get maybe not 100%, but as close as you can to where the ball actually is. Yeah. I think people have wanted it for a while.
Mm-hmm. I think this is a great one. I think this is long overdue. I mean, we've reached a point in pro sports where there are chips in the jerseys, chips in the balls or the pucks. Like, there's so much technology in this game. There's cameras everywhere that it's borderline ridiculous that we're using a practically Stone Age system of dudes rolling out with a chain based on, first of all, the ball placement is just off a ref far away guessing. Yeah. They're all in their 60s, by the way. I doubt they have good eyesight, for being honest.
Most of them,
I think
most
this
of them
is
are like lawyers and
I think this
stuff
is
like
long
that.
overdue. I also think it will help speed up some of that stuff. A lot of the bigger complaints about football, American football, is the unnecessary delays and pauses. And if you can place the ball faster and not have to drag out a chain with old dudes running to get it all out there, it's just better for the game, I think, overall, and it gives fans one less thing to complain about. Can't go wrong. I think the Hawkeye's probably better, though.
Yeah, I agree.
Having the round down or round up yardage, I think this is the technology is close enough now where even if it's not fully accurate, it's still going to be better than people eyeballing it, man. I think that's just undoubtedly true.
I agree. Next rule, one that I don't know, I guess we'll see. The kickoff rule, the touchbacks are now at the 35-yard line instead of the 30.
Yep.
I get what they're going for, but a lot of the kickers nowadays, they have a lot of oomph to their thing.
Yep.
And to their strength. So I think it'll be a little harder on them to kick it not as far.
Yep. It's clear last year with the implementing of what you'd call, I guess everyone called it the XFL kickoff rules. It's the UFL now, but they want to see returns go up. And they did, but not to the levels they were satisfied with. So they're like, let's push it 5 yards more. I think all this does is it emphasizes special teams more again. Special teams has always been important. Don't let anyone fool you. We've seen this before. I forget what year this was. This would have been great for me to have. But there was a Chargers team one year that missed the playoffs when they were like top 10 offense, top 10 defense, but dead last in special teams. And they missed the playoffs because of it. Like, special teams matters. This makes it matter even more because, like you said, now your kickers need finesse. Finesse matters more. Your hand time, your ball placement, inbounds, that matters more. And also your kick returners matter again. Honestly, you probably want 2 good ones because they'll always kick away from whoever the best one is. So it's just interesting to see how that changes. Let's see if emphasis on kick returns continues to grow. I remember the Steelers signed Cordero Patterson. I thought that was mainly going to be for kick returns. It really didn't play out that way, but it will be interesting if more kickoff return specialists start to stick around in the league a bit longer than they used to.
The special teams is definitely important because I looked it up. The 2010 San Diego Chargers had the number 1 ranked offense and the number 1 ranked defense, but missed the playoffs at 9-7. Crazy work.
They were cursed back then.
I think the better solution would have been what some people are saying, to just move the kicker back, because the kicker's not kicking and then rushing in to do a tackle. He's like the last one you want tackling. Even then, they might just be like, oh, I missed them, you know. So I think if you just move them back 5 to 10 yards, that does basically the same effect.
Yeah.
And because if they get a touchback at the 35-yard, all they need is like 20 yards of offense, and they're basically in field goal range already.
Your kicker's going to matter even more.
Yeah, I get it, though. We'll see how it does, but I think moving the kicker back would have been because they've done it before. They moved the kicker back, front, you know.
Yeah. We'll see how it plays out, but on the bright side, you know, the NFL has proven before they're willing to go back on rules that they deem unsuccessful. So we'll see how this kind of goes.
And then moving on to rule changes that got tabled / pushed back for now. Both rules being pushed by NFC North crybabies, not the Vikings, surprisingly not the Bears. The first one, the playoff seeding by record instead of division winners, tabled for now, or it was tabled for now. Pushed heavy by the Lions, but I don't know why. Like, they were the number 1 seed
because they realized they could have been the Vikings, so they're like, we can't do this anymore. This isn't a new complaint from people and from teams, but Mike Tomlin disagreed with it, saying that, you know, divisions. And I agree. Basically, I'm going to give my thoughts on it instead of his. But the NFL is like one of the last sports left where your division actually matters.
Matters, yeah.
Like, there's real rivalries in divisions in this league, which isn't the case anywhere else. Well, it's a bit the case in hockey, but we can talk about that later. But, you know, they really matter, and you play them twice a year. So when you already have a shorter schedule than every other league, so like your divisions matter a lot, and I think winning your division should still matter a lot. So that's why I think it should still be based on winning your division. I know it's like the NFC South every year is garbage, but it is what it is. You take the good with the bad sometimes.
I think if you want to push this, then just get rid of the divisions. Then just make it just do it by conference. Kind of like how the NBA does it.
It's what it would be basically if you did.
But like, I don't know. I like that the divisions matter. Like, I feel I'm happy when the Vikings win the NFC North. I've only witnessed it once.
See, that's a good point too, because if you're gonna change it to where winning the division doesn't give you a guaranteed top 4 seed, then you shouldn't be playing your division members twice a year then, because your schedule is heavy based on your division. So that's why winning your division matters, because it's like a third of your games are your division opponents. So like it has to matter. That's just,
and then
it can always fluctuate. So we'll see.
Yeah, and then you play the same opponents or very similar opponents that your own division plays. Like if last year the NFC North played the NFC West and the AFC South.
Yep.
So did the rest of the Vikings played that. So did the rest of the NFC North.
Yep.
Because if you just get rid of divisions, then it just
the scheduling and this league
makes
is
it way more complicated.
based on divisions. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then the other rule pushback was the tush push. I don't like it. Not the tush push. I don't like the rule to ban it.
We're trying to get rid of it.
Like
the only argument is and it's tacky too, because I feel like they know what they're doing, but it's this whole. I get it in a way, like it's the whole defenders aren't allowed to do certain things in the name of player safety, but then offensive players are allowed to do this tush push, which could potentially get not only their lineman hurt, but also the defensive lineman hurt. But the reality is, to me, it's a football play.
Yeah.
And so
I agree.
And I could be wrong, but I really don't think we've seen a lot of reporting on like, oh, look at all the injury numbers are spiking massively.
I can only think of one, and it was Chris Jones, and it was his own fault for trying to dive at it sideways and getting
out of force. It was so dumb by the Chiefs, but yeah. To me, I don't think it gets changed. I think
one thing about it is that someone said, well, there's an NFL rule that says offensive players can't pull the ball runner. It's like against the rule. But even for years before this, like when they pushed them, they would still call it sometimes. Yeah. The player that might get hurt, that has the highest chance of getting hurt, is the center.
Yeah.
And it's because they always, when they start to play, they're always looking down, and if they get caught weird, that's like a neck injury.
Well,
so maybe just changing the rule that everyone on the line has to look up. That way, like, they can't get caught in that situation.
Well,
that's the most I can see happening. But I don't think they're going to ban the tush push, and I don't want it to either.
And real quick, before we end up changing segments, I wanted to add this for the division winner conversation. I forgot to mention it. If they were ever going to change it at all, I think maybe the only potential fair compromise would be if you win your division, but you finish with a record under 500, then you don't get a host. Something like that would have to be a better compromise.
Also, the only time I think they would ever do it is if they add teams.
Yeah.
Expansion. That's the only way I can think they would do it. Moving on to the NFL draft, part of it. The Vikings don't have the most picks in the draft this year. We might have the least. Maybe we're tied with someone. Vikings only have 4 picks. A first rounder, number 24, third rounder, 97. I think it's a fifth at 139, and then a seventh at 187. I can't see the Vikings, even with only 4 picks, wanting to trade back. I know a lot of fans want to, just so we can add more, but it just wouldn't be worth it. Only if most of the safeties / corners that are worth taking are gone, then maybe a team with 2 seconds. I don't know who that'd be. Or maybe a second this year and like a second next year. Maybe. And if there isn't a D lineman there, like a defensive tackle that's worth taking for us, I know we just got Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave, and we have Phillips there, but if we can get a young guy in there ready for when those – Hargrave and Allen are both pushing 30. Well, they're past 30. They're pushing it. So, but I can't see it. What about the Steelers?
Yeah, so we're at 6 picks this year. First, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. So just basically everything but the second, which we used in the DK Metcalf trade. So, yeah, if you ask me, our trading of draft picks happened weeks ago when we traded for DK Metcalf. It feels very unlikely we will move down or up. The Steelers are also kind of famously pretty patient in the draft. They don't really move a lot. If anything, they probably more likely to move down than they would up. They have moved up every once in a while, like randomly in the 5th round once or something. It's like maybe if there's a prospect they really think they need deep, they might do it, but I don't see us moving up. Especially in the first, I don't see us moving up. First of all, we don't even have the capital this year without a 2nd-round pick. It would require us mortgaging picks for next year.
The future. Mm-hmm.
And if you look at next year, we have all of our picks, plus we're getting multiple comp picks from all the players, like the Fields, the Wilsons, our offensive tackle, Moore, who went to the Titans. There's a lot of comp picks coming in, which means next year we'll have more than 7 picks, which would be – and it's a better QB class. So to me, next year is the year you'd position yourself to move up if you do.
Both our teams are looking good for comp picks next year.
Yeah. Dan Moore got paid a lot by Tennessee.
Yeah, Dan Moore and Sam Darnold, two players that left our teams that are giving us a third round pick.
Yep.
Number 97 that we have this year is only because of Kirk. Shout out Kirk for signing that big ass contract. Same thing for Sam Darnold and same thing for Dan Moore.
Real quick, why don't you have a second? What'd I forget about?
Last year when we traded up for Dallas Turner.
Oh, okay. When you went back into the
Which
first.
is pretty. I mean, it's
was he
pretty
good
crazy
last year?
we traded a second and last year's second and this year's second to move up to 15, and I think our 2nd-round pick was like 40 something. So like, who was it that traded with us? But it was low key a bad trade by them because they dropped a lot.
Yeah.
For only a second. It's NBA talk. Moving on to the NBA part of this. First of all, we'll talk about personal teams. For me, the Lakers, with our record and where we are now, we're basically a guaranteed lock for the playoffs. But these next 3 games are very important. As you can see, the Lakers, Nuggets tied with, well, Lakers have 1 game, but at 47 wins. Warriors 46, Timberwolves 46, Clippers 46, Grizzlies 46. We don't got to talk about the Mavs. So, if the Lakers just do good-ish in the last few games, and who knows with some injuries and player management, because they want to be ready for the playoffs. If we lose like 1 or 2 games that we probably don't want to, we could fall right here or right here. But I want to stay right here. Realistically, I want us to stay at the 3 or one of these. I mean, 4 or 5 seed doesn't matter because they play each other. But I'd want to be 3 in the 3 seed to avoid this team early.
Okay. Holy crap, man! The Rockets are a 2 seed. That snuck up on me.
It's because they were super good early in the season and then
slowly. Okay.
The Rockets are just like the Thunder, but except the Thunder are more impressive in a way that the Rockets beat any team not on the screen super easily. I mean, they probably beat
they probably beat the play-in team.
Yeah, like super easily. But once they play a team right here, it's like, damn, I ain't got enough for that big man. I don't even know. I mean, I don't know for a fact, but if against these teams in like the first round, I don't even know if they have a 500 record. But every other team, they're destroying them, which is just like the Thunder. These 13 losses, I think most of them are here, which I guess makes sense. I think rarely they have a play-in or not even on the screen loss.
Yeah.
And the Cavs are my favorite team to win it. Obviously, I want the Lakers to win, but realistically, the Cavs, I think,
I'm more scared of Boston in the playoffs than I am of Cleveland.
No, you know what?
I don't like Boston. I'm not.
Yeah.
Cleveland to me has to prove it in the playoffs.
They got good depth. I get it.
And they just made the finals, so they know what they're doing. So should I talk about the Pacers real quick?
Yep.
Is that what we're doing?
Talk about the 4th seed. Almost a lock in the
So
top
the hat-
4, I think.
Gives it away, but I'm a Pacers fan. And so, yeah, I think 4 is perfect. If we're being honest, like obviously we're not going to reach the 1 seed, and I just kind of gave it away there. But I would rather play Cleveland than Boston. I don't think either is particularly like a great matchup or easy. That's for sure. They're 2 of the best teams in the league for a reason. Like to me, it's a 3-horse race in terms of like who's been the best teams this year. It's the Thunder, the Cavs, and the Celtics. I don't think it's particularly close, so that's tough. But in terms of the first round matchup, I think I'd rather play Detroit than the Bucks.
I was going to say this. I want the Bucks to fall and the Pistons to rise because Pacers, Pistons, I need that.
It'd be very fun.
Because
to be fair,
I'm not going to reveal where I live, but where I live is right in the middle of both.
Yeah.
So whichever Pacers versus Pistons, whether it's at Gainbridge, not Gainsbridge, Gainbridge Fieldhouse, or it's at the Little Caesars Dome, whichever game ends up on a Saturday, I'm gonna be there. I'm going.
Nice.
But if they play Milwaukee and Milwaukee hosts the weekend game, I'm not going.
Yeah. But in terms of just the matchup, the fact that the Bucks are, if I'm correct, you can correct me, but I'm pretty sure they're without Dame, and that's counting the playoffs too, right? He's just gone.
I believe so, but I'll double
So to me, it would be a failure of a season if the Pacers lost their first round matchup, regardless if it's the Bucks without Dame or if it's a Pistons team making the playoffs for the first time after
deep vein thrombosis on his calf. He's out.
So to me, the Pacers have to win the first round regardless of who the opponent is, and a big part of that would be keeping that 4 seed. I don't think we passed the Knicks to get to 3, but like I said, if I had to pick,
people were saying that last year. What happened? What happened last year? Overrated. I don't like the Knicks. I think you could beat them. You already did them once anyway.
Either way, I think the first round Pacers games will be some of the best to watch, just because we actually have beef with both teams. The Bucks beef has been going for like a year or two now, and the Pistons, that's historic. But also this year, granted, the Pistons try to fight with everyone, but they don't like us either. Halliburton seems to make people mad no matter what he does, so I think it works out regardless. I think either way it'll be a fun series.
Like I said it, I'm a Lakers fan, but I grew up in Indiana, so I also like the Pacers. If I had a team in the East and a team in the West, it probably would be both teams that were yellow, purple, yellow, blue, better than this yellow and blue team. Screw them. And I guess the Nuggets, they kind of were yellow and blue, but not really. Do you think, it's a different type.
Just kind of looking at this right now, do you think Memphis is just a lost cause, especially because they ditched their coach? Or do you think that's...
I don't know why they did it. It's so weird.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to find the reason, and I guess they were just basically like, oh, well, we're not going to win anyway. We made a decision we were going to do it anyway, so we might as well do it now.
For us. I think he's a good coach, though, wherever he ends up.
Yeah, maybe in the head coach running for like whoever is like the higher they want to get right away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like how, what was it, the Jags were super eager to do that, tried to get Ben Johnson, and then Ben Johnson was like, I like the Bears.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say, can we just acknowledge how this is, I love to see the fact that all the top teams we're looking at right now are teams that built through the draft or through smart moves, not through throwing 3 superstars
I will
together.
say the Celtics just took advantage of stupid
they drafted,
but that's good on them, yeah.
They drafted very well.
The Cavs and Thunder
are
the best example of slow and steady. Thunder kind of came out of nowhere last year, and then this year definitely. But
and the Rockets have been the draft team. The Pistons have been the draft team. Knicks are a little of both, but they didn't grab any old superstars. Like the notable one that proves to me the idea of like a super team is slowly but surely dying is how bad the Phoenix Suns were. I think that's all the proof you need. I don't remember that. I said that was
KD is washed.
It's more Bradley Beal is the worst part of that. Like he's so it's just taking cap space. You can't do that. To
him
me,
and Paul George are in the same boat. Not
We're
good
going to see a
anymore.
strategy shift where drafting and then signing very good role players becomes a new strategy of teams. It's worked very well for Boston, I think, and the Thunder. I think every team could learn from that.
Yeah. It's just hard for some teams to hold on to their picks when they get like a juicy deal.
Yeah.
Like the Lakers were like, hey, let's swap this NBA star in his prime for an old guy that's a center that doesn't want to play center, that's injured half the time.
It's a conspiracy
Oh,
theory.
and give
man.
us your 2020.
There's no
It's
way
like,
Dallas did that willingly.
sure. Hey, man.
Nico
Nico Harris was like, hey, would you think about this? And what was Rob Pelinka going to do? Say, no, I don't want to take advantage of you.
The Lakers had to say yes, but
Fine
someone
and
must have
dining, bro.
blackmail on Nico Harrison. That's all I'm going to say. Someone made him make that trade. Could have been you. For all
Might
we
have
know.
been. Quick prediction of at least these, if these end up being the games.
We'll dive in deeper for sure once it's actually set. in stone,
These
too.
guys are just playing to lose to honestly, the Clippers. I think the Grizzlies are going to win. And then basically this spot is just going to who gets swept by the Thunder.
Yeah.
This spot is who is going to
You think they'll beat
I'm
the
going to say
Rockets?
who's going to upset the Rockets.
Okay.
I don't know. The Rockets are good, but they're not, like I said, they're not good against these teams.
They're kind of like the Pistons to me. Like, it's their first time back in the dance. They're not going to be ready. Like,
I
not
think,
right away.
especially if the Grizzlies end up here, I think the Grizzlies 60% chance to win.
Are
If
they
it's the
not a mess
Clippers,
right now?
50-50. Huh?
Like, I don't know if they even get past the Clippers. I don't.
Yeah,
They
like I
fired
said,
their coach with like 10 games left. Like, they're not a mess.
I don't know. I guess I just believe in the Grizzlies a little more. No fun league. Let them point guns at each other. They're just fingers anywhere.
Was Kawhi's finally playing again, right?
I mean, does it matter? I mean, he'll
He's
start
playing in
playing
the
and then he'll
playoffs,
be
he
like,
can't-
you know what, my
can't
shoulder
hurt.
hurts.
Yeah, I guess that's what
Yeah.
he's actually healthy in the playoffs for once. It'd be interesting.
Nuggets, Warriors. Low key, this one, if this the Nuggets and Warriors compares very well to the Pacers series, where it's going to be the most entertaining
Yeah.
if it stays this. But like I said, it's so close. Who knows?
Yeah.
Although I will say one thing that helps the Lakers a lot is I think they won the series against the Timberwolves, Warriors, Nuggets, and the Clippers. I think they tied the Grizzlies.
Minnesota hasn't impressed me the past like month.
Yeah,
Two.
if this ends up being the matchup, I think Lakers in 6. The
Yeah.
Clippers, the Timberwolves might get 2. They might get the 2 away ones.
Yeah, like I know the Lakers have this old guy on their team that's holding them back, but you know Luka and Austin
Hey.
will carry them. That's what I said. The Lakers, that's the place to be for the white boys. That's all I'm saying.
Hey man, you leave Markieff Morris alone, bro.
Okay.
I was trying to see who, because I don't think they have that many old people other than LeBron. I mean, what's his name? Jackson Hayes. He's like, I think 29, but like,
Yeah, I think they
don't
got
have-
smarter with their bench.
They don't
guys.
have any like old people except for
They
Markieff
abandoned the
Morris.
retirement home, man. They got smart.
Yeah, definitely.
Reeves hitting was huge. Wasn't Reeves a second round pick? I'm not
Reeves
tripping.
was actually a UDFA. Anyway, the playoffs should be good. That's the best time to watch basketball, in my opinion.
Nowadays, yeah.
And moving on to the last segment of the show. I can't do drum roll. Got no room on my desk. It is sports rankings. Me and Preston, at least for me, I separated them. Preston will elaborate, if I remember correctly, in the pre-stream meeting.
Mine's ranked
very
by,
serious production.
by just viewing, like television viewing, because that's mainly what I do. So
We are ranking my number one pick for watching in real life is basketball.
Yep.
I think basketball being in the arena is such a great experience, even a regular season game. Maybe I'm skewed because Gainbridge in the Pacers is a really good one.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really well built stadium where all the seats are kind of like a bowl in a sense. So even nosebleeds, you get a really good view. I don't know if they have a wood roof, but it sounds like it based on the way the sound gets trapped in there, and so it just sounds amazing. So it might be a little skewed, especially a playoff game. Gosh, the atmosphere in there is insane, man. But I think I'm also a little biased because I got to see the Knicks lose, so I was happy about that. And TV watching, I think the number one experience for me, easy football. TV wise, football, college, NFL. I was gonna say UFL, but I've watched like 2 games.
It's fall. Not a lot of people are watching this year.
Football it's just so fun to watch in person. Yeah. Like, I know a lot of people complain about, but it stops and you get like ads and stuff. You're like, whatever. Especially these days and age, an ad comes out, you don't want to watch it. Boom.
Yep.
Get on your phone. Yep. Check up on something else. It's not a big deal. Talk to the people around you.
So,
Preston, you're number one.
Yeah. So my live ones are gonna have to be explain more because, as we kind of mentioned, I have not been to as many live events, and so some of it would be more like my ideas of live events, what I've heard about live events, general consensus, and also my limited experience. I'll kind of try to talk through it. It's gonna be tougher for me for live, but in terms of just watching based on my preferences, number one, I'll be clear, I split by like leagues. So I have college versions of a sport ranked separate from pro versions, which I believe you did not do. We talked about that. So my number one is college football, but my number 2 is NFL. So really, it's just football is one. But if I had to choose, I would choose college football. There's a few reasons. We talked about it, like there's commercial breaks and stuff, but that actually means it's more built for TV than any other sport. Like, this is a sport meant to watch from your couch. It's perfect for it. Watching live's fun, but with all the stoppages, it's less. You don't get as drawn in as maybe some other live sports, if that makes sense. And so, to me, college football is the best simply because, in terms of television watching, with the NFL, I think everyone's familiar. There's only so many games that are actually televised, and half the time, all your 1:00 games depend on where you live. So it's no guarantee you're going to get to watch either your favorite team or even good games. Sometimes you're just stuck with whatever bad games are on because it's the game closest to where you live. With college football, literally every game, every D1 game that's happening that day, you can watch on something.
Somewhere, yeah. You'll find it.
And they span time slots throughout the whole day. From 12 to like midnight, there's games kicking off, which means all day on Saturday, you can always find at least one entertaining, close college football game on. Also, in terms of atmosphere, college football gets the edge on the NFL because the fan bases have been around longer, just based on the fact college football is older than the NFL. And if you ask me, they're more passionate. There's a lot more. College football has more connections to soccer than the NFL does in terms of fans, if that makes sense. Like having unique chants, being far more locally based. Like, you're really committed to teams that you went to or you live close to. And I think they're very passionate. The stadiums are bigger. They're the biggest stadiums in the world, to be honest, outside of like one in North Korea they built that no one even sits in. They just wanted to have the most highest seating capacity. But you're talking like 5 or 6 college football stadiums that seat over 100,000 people. Like, it's the place to be. There's a lot of bucket list stadiums in my life, and I would bet that most of them are college football stadiums. So in terms of my live experience, college football would probably be one. But I haven't got to experience it to the fullest, if that makes sense. So I've only been to half of a Notre Dame game. It's not my fault. It was only half. Everyone else I was with got cold way too fast, and they're being pansies about it, so we had to leave early. But the atmosphere at a full college game where you're rooting for the home team, it's tough to beat. Very loud. It's tough to find places louder than that. And like I said, it's just very passionate. So I think college football, I would probably say it's number one for both.
Yeah, real quick, the way you said about the biggest stadiums being college ones, like, it kind of sucks for this is a random sidebar. I might not even include this, but it sucks that for the World Cup in the USA, I don't think many of them are actually being in college ones, right?
Not. Oh, I think maybe there's a game in the Rose Bowl, but it's not the final. So like most of the big ones are in NFL
like
games.
I think Michigan's, if that was in a bigger city, maybe honestly even Notre Dame's, if it was in a bigger city, they might want to do it there. But
yeah, I think part of the problem's airports and hotels and stuff.
And your city has to be built to host one.
And NFL stadiums are just more corporate in terms of like press boxes and stuff. So they're always going to choose the ones with more
pumping,
with more premium seating options. They were always going to prioritize.
Yeah. All right.
So now your number twos.
My number two, in real life, IRL, might be a controversial take. Baseball. I think baseball truly is the best watchable in person. I think there's something about it that a lot of people don't get baseball until they see it in person, and then it's such a unique thing. There's a couple of podcasts I listen to for soccer, and some of them were talking about that when they went to their like summer tour here in the USA, that for their whole life they've hated baseball because it's like, oh, why would anyone like that? It's so like dumb, it's so boring, it's all that. And then they watch it in person, and this is a British guy. They have probably some of the littlest attention spans in the world. They're
like cricket. So
I get it.
Can't have that.
And man, it happens, I guess. And I get it. I do think baseball is best watched in person. That's why I have it 2, right behind
basketball.
One. And TV, I'm gonna switch it to what I had it because I thought about it. I think number 2 TV best watching experience is hockey.
Right.
Especially playoff hockey. It's so good, man. Just like how playoff football is the best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something about it's just so the games matter a little more. The players are trying a little harder. There's more physical. The refs really don't get involved unless it's like a full-on team brawl or like they start swinging the sticks at each other's heads. I saw it once last year. I was like, damn.
Mm-hmm.
It is just really fun. It's really entertaining. That's my two.
So my twos are another double. So my ones are both football, but I will say the live is super tight between college football and my number 2 for both, which is hockey. It's along the lines of you said NHL for sure. Probably 1. College hockey is underrated. I think you would enjoy it if you watched it. It's good. Definitely in person, which is interesting. You said hockey at 2 for TV, which I agree with. Like I love hockey, so I watch it on TV a lot. But it actually is a sport that a lot of people say is better in person. Like it's a very popular choice for people to be like, if you haven't seen one in person, you need to, or like you'll like it better in person, stuff like that. Which is true. I think it's tough. Like you watch those playoff games, and then if you put yourself in that atmosphere,
that would be crazy, man.
Like I think if you got to attend a NHL game, you might actually have it number 1 in terms of live viewership.
Probably.
But what I will say is, even on TV, it's just, to me, it's a very entertaining sport. It's fast paced in terms of like the movement, the hits. It's a very physical game. It's the only one you're allowed to fight people. That's not an actual combat sport. Games are very tense because you mentioned previously, like even a 3-goal lead isn't always safe. Like stuff can change pretty quick. I've always called it's like soccer on ice, but more violent. Similar positions, but the game moves faster. You're allowed to hit. These guys are very, very tough players. There's so many times where players in the playoffs, especially, like they'll play their playoff series, and then once the playoff series is over, you find out, oh, that guy played through a broken jaw. That guy played through a fractured ankle. That guy's lung collapsed. Literally a player's lung collapsed, and he still finished the game. Like, these dudes are insanely tough. It's different than any other sport. It's anecdotal, but if you ask me, no one cares about their game and their teammates and their fans more than an NHL player does. Maybe not ownership or, general or commissioners getting stuff like that, but the players, it's very hard to get them off the ice. Like, they'll play through about anything, which is, I'd say, pretty unique for their sport. Also, it being indoors builds into that atmosphere of a full house. The fact there's hits, like the crowd reaction to a good hit is tough to beat. Then if you got the money to be on blast,
it reminds me
that's
a lot of like in pro wrestling when there's like a big spot that it's like that for every like hard hit. It's like
throw in a great hit in MMA or something like that. Yeah. Plus, there's the uniqueness of live hockey, which is if you have seats on the glass, you get to have the players literally bumping against the glass. Stuff like that's cool. Mm-hmm. So I've only been. It's my second for live, mainly because of how I've heard people talk about it and just picturing myself in the atmosphere of a sold-out game. To me, it's tough to beat that. But I've also attended Notre Dame hockey games, and I saw the Winter Classic, which is against the Bruins and the Blackhawks, played at Notre Dame's football stadium. So that's tough for the match vibes because that's more of like a celebration event. It's on New Year's Day, and you're kind of just having a good time. And I don't like either of those teams. In fact, I strongly dislike both of those teams. So it wasn't fair to like count it as a regular game, but it's a fun experience live too, and just it's one of my favorite sports events. I didn't get into it till later in life, like 2015, but it's one of my favorites for sure. It's my favorite non-football by far. Like I think it's not even close to like it's football, hockey, and then a drop off to third and so on.
Drop off isn't that much for me. I think. Mm-hmm. I'm one that enjoys a lot of sports almost evenly.
Yeah.
For my third one, for in real life, I have football. And now I've only been to 2 NFL games.
Yeah.
But, and no college games, but I want to. Next year, Ball State for sure. That'll be one of them.
New coach.
I think the plan was to go to either that one or basketball. We chose basketball.
That day, yeah.
Is it because it was going to be cold?
That and the team just was very bad.
Yeah, you're right.
New coach next year. We go to a game in like September. It might be good.
Cricket. Yeah. Football is just so intense. Now, I got to see twice the Vikings beat the Bears in Chicago.
Okay. Yeah, see, that's another thing.
It's when you beat a rival in their own place. Although I will say leaving, I was a little scared because drunk NFL fans have a bad reputation. I did have one guy try to press me, but one shove was enough to get him to stop. Not by me, a different Vikings fan.
Yeah, I've never had that
deal with I mean, I was 20, but I looked young, I guess, because he said leave the kid alone and shoved him. So shout out that random. He had a what's the linebacker's name? Eric Kendricks shirt on.
Nice.
So in my head canon, there was Eric Kendricks protecting him. No, but this is like a 35 at least, maybe older, drunk Chicago Bears fan. Mad his team choked. Like, hey man, don't take it on me. And my third watching on TV, I have soccer. Now, I am a little biased. I just enjoy soccer a lot more. Yeah. And if you're one of those people that complains about too many commercials, it's perfect for you.
That's true.
Because you get 45 minutes at least to watch it, and then you get 15 to 20, sometimes 25 minutes to be on your phone or do whatever you want, eat, whatever, and then you get another uninterrupted, mostly uninterrupted unless the player gets really badly hurt or there's some, we got to review bullshit. Yes, I guess. But I like it. I like it a lot. And I enjoy watching it a lot on TV. It's easy to watch. The commentators, most of the time, are good unless you get ones that are like a little more boring. I prefer Latin commentators more than British ones because they're a lot more energetic. But I also like insightful British ones too.
Okay, so I just want to, before I get into mine, I'll throw in with your NFL one because I put football 1 for mine anyways. But what I will say about NFL in the same vein, I have been to 3 NFL games, but they've all been in Indy. And so the truth is, I've never got to go to a home team game, like a game where I'm rooting for the home team. So it's not a fair comparison because the atmosphere of being surrounded by people who are rooting for the same team you are is obviously going to feel different than being on the road. That said, Steelers fans travel incredibly well. So I was surrounded by a ton of Steelers fans, but obviously it's not the same. It was still a very good experience, though.
I'd love to see the Vikings play in U.S. Bank Stadium. I think the only time I would ever really have a chance to do it is if they play on a Sunday where I have the Monday and maybe the Tuesday off, or if they play like on Christmas in Minnesota or New Year's, because I usually have those weeks off anyway from work, and that'd be the only time I would really be able to go. Although I will say, in Chicago, it was at least 30% of the whole stadium in purple, which is more than I thought.
Yeah. I'd say Steelers fans are known for traveling level. Like I said, it's not the same. I give the NFL points for being it's very hospitable. You know what I mean? Like in terms of how it's all organized and the amenities at NFL level stadiums, especially the Colts. I give immense credit. Lucas Oil is a great stadium, just objectively speaking. The teams are different stories sometimes, but great stadium. So now I'll get into mine. My third, like I said, I split sports, but I'd probably put them back to back anyways, and that's basketball.
You have them back to back, yeah.
Yeah. So I might no, actually, okay. I thought I had maybe some time to switch later, but I think
you have college and NBA.
But yeah, college ball I prefer over the pros for a myriad of reasons. In terms of live experience, I'd say it's similar to what I said with pro basketball, where there's a different connection and a different feeling when it comes to college teams. That it's just the truth. Like my best basketball experience of all time still has to be 2015 or 2016. The last time Notre Dame basketball was actually good. I'm talking about back-to-back Elite Eights back then. But it was a home game against a 10th ranked North Carolina team, sold out, and Notre Dame won. And that's still the best basketball experience I've ever had. I went with my cousin who was rooting for the Tar Heels, so I got to roast him the whole time. I lost my voice at that game. It was fantastic. So that's my best basketball memory. That said, I recently got to go to a Pacers game. Shout out you. So that was good too. It was a very fun experience. Obviously better in terms of amenities. The stadium's very nice, like you mentioned. Notre Dame's isn't bad, to be fair, but obviously the Pacers one is better. It's just it feels a little more corporate sometimes. And it wasn't a playoff game, but Indiana fans are great. It's a basketball state, so the atmosphere was still very good for that regular season game as well, even when it was against a team who is objectively bad this year in the Nets. So, like, both have good live experiences, I think. It also just depends on the atmospheres as well. So, like, obviously Notre Dame against North Carolina, that was a big moment for that Notre Dame team, so it kind of felt like a playoff game. And obviously you've been to NBA playoff games and I haven't, so I can't measure it in terms of that. But then in terms of watching on TV, I prefer college for a few reasons. One is I just think it's more team-oriented still, which it makes me sound like an old man, but I just think it is. I think coaching matters more in college than it does in the pros. I think there's actual like play calling still in college. Passing still matters a lot. Like there's a lot. It feels like it's more designed still. I also think there's slightly more parity in college, especially with NIL and the portal has actually maybe spread talent out even more than it used to, which means not just the blue bloods can win stuff anymore. Like Florida and Houston are in the Natty right now. That's not a Duke or a Kentucky or a Kansas or North Carolina. I also just prefer the playoffs of college than I do the NBA. Like NBA playoffs are fun and it's the best part of their season, but March Madness is special and it's special to me and I've always loved it. And it's very, very entertaining. It's it's unique and it's cultural. Like it impacts the whole U.S. Like even random secretaries and offices are filling out brackets this time of year. So like there's just a few things that push college ball over pro ball for me, but they're both pretty close. They're my third favorite.
I looked at in 2015 Notre Dame made the Final Four, but that wasn't the year.
Right before the Final Four.
Huh?
I think we made the Elite Eight back to back. I think we didn't make it to the Final Four. I remember. I think we lost by like one freaking bucket to Kentucky one of those years. That hurt.
Oh wait, no, I have it lined up wrong. That is Elite Eight. You lost by 2 points.
See,
but that wasn't the year you beat
UNC at home.
No, I'm trying to see if that was the next year.
Yeah, it was probably
2016. Nope, Notre Dame isn't on this. I'm guessing it was 2014 then.
So February 6th, 2016, we beat them 80-76, and UNC was the third-ranked team. And okay, that's what it was. So it wasn't even 10th-ranked UNC. I watched unranked Notre Dame at the time beat third-ranked USC February 6th, 2016 at Notre Dame.
Oh, but that wasn't March Madness. Okay, that makes sense.
No, it was a Notre Dame home game. That wasn't. I haven't been to March Madness.
That's still embarrassing though.
It was sick. It was a great game
for them, not for you. Okay.
We were good that year, but yeah.
Moving on. My fourth for. Oh, sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. My fourth for watching in real life, I have soccer. Soccer is very fun in person, but honestly, this is gonna sound stupid, but only when your team is playing good, or when your team is winning. If your team is losing, it's like the whole end of the stadium is like,
yeah,
which is like dumb. Like you want to like give them energy, but
have you only been in exhibition games then, since you're in the States?
International, Mexico, and college games. I haven't been to an MLS. Oh wait, no, I went to one MLS game to see Schweinsteiger when he played for
MLS
Chicago Fire.
But I haven't yet.
I'd be down too. Obviously, I haven't seen a Premier League games because I don't live in.
That's why I like exhibitions. Yeah, obviously it's tough because obviously
the excitement isn't there.
The fan environment's better.
Look, I'm not gonna say that like a World Cup game probably triumphs everything I've been to, but like, I mean, I guess I have a chance, but like those tickets prices don't look good in America too, baby. But and my fourth in TV, I have basketball. Okay. Now I will say this: all of these so far in TV are great to watch. Basketball is perfect to put on if you don't have anything, because especially if it's a close game, because it's back and if two teams you don't care about, it's good entertainment in the background. It's also, I think, one of the most stressful games when you're watching a team that you are a fan of, because it could the Lakers could be winning by 6 points, and then in the next 2 minutes they let the other team go on a 14-1 run, and it's like, okay, what the fuck happened? And then next thing you know, the Lakers do the same thing to them. And I like that in basketball there can be that back and forth watching on TV. Although I will say, 7, however many timeouts the coaches get, I hate it, man. It's so infuriating on TV, especially when it's a coach that knows how to use them well. So by that I mean often, because it's the same commercials repeated, and that's why it's like infuriating. But yeah, that's my biggest complaint on TV wise. Your fourth?
Okay. So my fourth is, I wonder if this surprised you at all when you saw it listed, but it is soccer, actually. So I have a different approach to soccer, which is why, it's tougher to rank like objectively. So I'm more like very hyper focused, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like it's soccer, but it's U.S. national team almost exclusively. So like it's a very MLS, it's a very specific part of soccer. So like I watch MLS casually, is what I'd say. Like I don't even have a favorite.
What's the name MLS of that show that just basically takes you from the game?
360. Yeah. So I basically watch the equivalent of NFL Red Zone for MLS every weekend, or not even every weekend. There's not NFL or one of the sports I listed above going on that's important, anyways. So, but I watch it kind of casually. I don't even have an MLS team. I just watch the American young players in MLS and wish them best. But really, I'm a one-team guy in soccer, and that is with the United States men's national team, which means that it's just a different experience overall. Like, I'm not watching European soccer, really. And a lot of the times, if it's teams I'm not interested in, I won't lie, I can become bored. Like, soccer has its moments, and it's tactical, and it's fun, and I get that, and people love defense sometimes. But it also just is objectively lower scoring than other sports, and there's a lot more ties than other sports, which the American in me, it hurts sometimes, but it's how it is. I understand.
I get
it. But so it's just, I do like it a little more than some of the other sports I'll talk about in terms of watching. So like when it's a team I care about, the slower stuff doesn't matter as much because you feel that tension where you're like, someone has to score at some point, and it could be me. I'll be very happy.
Overtime and penalties are super entertaining, though.
So, like, I think any sport can be entertaining is if you have skin in the game, I guess. And so with soccer, it's tougher because I have less investment than like you or a lot of other people who will show up on this channel. But when watching the U.S. national team, I have felt genuine joy and genuine like anger or disgust. So I think at those peaks, it's better than some of the other sports I'll talk about later. So that's why it's a 4. It's tougher. I've came into the sport so much later than the other ones too, and I don't have a club team, so it's just not possible for it to pass basketball or football or hockey for me. But I respect it more than I used to. I won't lie. I was one of those guys who was like, oh, it's ties and I go to sleep. I legit did.
I remember those arguments.
I don't know if I told you this, but the World Cup in Brazil, is that 2014?
2014. Yep.
Yeah. So I tried watching a World Cup game. It was like Denmark versus someone, and no joke, I fell asleep and woke up when the game was over. So like that was my old opinion of the sport. Having skin makes it better, and even casually watching MLS, I can find entertainment from it. So it can't pass the other ones for me at this point in my life. I don't think it ever will, but I do respect it. I should make that clear.
Okay. And when you don't have skin in the game, something that helps you put skin in the game, our sponsor. No, I'm cutting that. I thought that was funny.
Yet. Oh, I guess real quick, I should mention I didn't talk about live for soccer, and I can't. So like I can't really. My rankings of live cuts off pretty soon. Yeah, so soccer can't be there. Baseball will be later, but I'll talk about that too. It's a little different. But soccer, I've never attended a soccer game unless you're counting like my little brother or little sister playing like with 8-year-olds on a random field. So one day I would like to go for sure. It'd be fun. But as of now, I cannot comment on the environment of a live soccer game.
And going into our last picks, we both have the same one. Actually, no. We have the same one for TV, I guess.
Okay. See, because you have a different one.
But in real life, I have hockey last, but that's just because I've never been to one. So technically, it's NA for now. But for TV, I have baseball. Now, baseball on TV sucks. It's boring unless you were lucky enough to get that one game that ends up 15-12 or something random. But it's so random, and oftentimes it's not teams that you're a fan of unless you get really lucky.
Yeah.
And even then, watching your own team play, it's just infuriating when they're not playing good. Mm-hmm. And even if they're playing good, if the game isn't super entertaining, it's not the same. That's why I have it. It's way better in person than it is on TV.
Yeah. Okay. So the only thing I'll say for yours is once you attend a hockey game, you will move that from 5 up. Yeah. It'll probably be like 1 or 2. But so my 5 for everything, technically it's 4 for live because I've never been to soccer live, so I'll give it that. And I'll talk about why we're very different on ranking it live. But just overall, it's my 5th, and that is because we had a whole segment about the MLB earlier, and I voiced some of my main gripes about the sport, which is just truthfully, it just hurts it for me as a product to watch on television or otherwise. The fact that the team I am stuck with, because I actually do like them, like I enjoy when they win and I'm sad when they lose, is a team that will never win anything ever again if we keep the sport the way it is right now or keep this owner around. Like it's a sport way more dependent on market and ownership than any other big American sport we've talked about. And so that hurts it for me overall. I just feel very jaded towards the sport at times. It's tough. Yeah, like I said, I became a fan too late into the game that I've never even watched the Pirates make like a wild card game. And I won't for a while ever. Who knows? Not for a while. Even with Skeens. Skeens will be a Dodger in 2 years, if we're being honest. So it's just tough that way. And then in terms of live, I get what you're saying to an extent. But if I'm being honest, every time I've been to a live game, it's felt more casual than other sports.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's more of a hangout or like a cool place to chill with people you're friends with, or if you're looking to just have some beers.
It's the best sport to watch when you're with people.
Yeah,
because you don't have to pay 100% attention to the game, and you can have casual conversations where it's harder to do that in
To me, that lowers it because I feel like it's a game where no one's locked. Like it's very rare you're getting people locked in. Now, to be fair, I have not been to a playoff game, so obviously I think every sport changes.
Yeah, I've heard that playoff baseball games get really good.
Yeah, but so my only experience has been one regular season MLB game and then plenty minor league games. And minor league really it emphasizes that casual atmosphere we talked about. Mm-hmm. So like to me, plus there's so many games.
I do love going to South Bend Cubs game.
Plus, like you said, there's 162 games. So like most of the time, if you're going in the regular season, you're not even at a sellout. Like you're not even at a game close to a sellout. Like the people, they just don't care. Like you're not getting good atmosphere from regular season baseball, in my opinion. It's a good time if you have the money
unless you're the Dodgers or the Yankees.
Yeah, but you're not getting a great environment. Mm-hmm. I will say the Pirates have the best stadium in baseball. They just don't play.
I'll agree with that. PNC is beautiful. Up there.
You got to go and you got to get a Banana Bread sandwich, and you'll have the best time ever. But it's too casual for me to compare it to the other ones I've been to, where you're like deeply invested in the game. You can't look away either because they're scoring too fast, or you just the whole crowd is more buy-in. So to me, it's lower than the other ones. And for TV, like you said, there's just undoubtedly aspects of the sport of baseball that it's slower. It's a bit more casual. I know they have sped it up with like the pitch clock, but it's tough to watch. For me, it's tough to watch when I don't.
It's still a little long.
Yeah. It's tough for me to watch when I don't have skin in the game, when I don't have a rooting interest. I will say there are exceptions. There was a random Rays Yankees playoff game. I don't know what year that was, but it was like the wild card that I actually thoroughly enjoyed. And then, of course, a few of the Cubs, Indians World Series games were also actually found them very entertaining, even though I didn't have a rooting interest in either team. So there's been moments, and obviously the playoffs is the peak of baseball, and there's a lot of parts about baseball, and it's the American pastime and whatnot. To me, it's just different, and it feels different than the other sports, and that's okay, but to me, it has to be 5 because of that.
2015, that was the last time the Pirates made the playoffs.
I wasn't watching.
That wraps up the rankings. Thank you guys for watching us. Thank you for running through us. We talked a little bit of March Madness, a little bit of NFL, NBA, and our sports rankings. Hope you guys had a great watch/listen. I don't know if it'll be up on Spotify quick. We'll try and other platforms. My name has been Jesus.
Thank you so much for watching. I have a personal YouTube channel called KMA Sports. For any of you who are interested, it will be linked in the description. Mainly Steelers and Notre Dame content, but some general sports stuff in there as well. And then kind of just some stuff I wanted to mention. This is the first episode for us, so you'll bear with us. We have technical difficulties. We have some different segments going through it, and we'll need new segment ideas all the time. So anyone who's watching this, feel free to reach out, like through the comments or anywhere else, and let us know what segments you'd want to see or hear from us. There's plenty. We can talk about pretty much any sport as you learned today, as we kind of went through some of these rankings and stuff. So just thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for more from this channel and more from this show.
Anyway, peace out. Take care. Enjoy.